The Bentonville art scene is roaring.
You can hear the changes coming to this area.
So what does this mean for the future of Northwest Arkansas?
Especially for those residents who hold this place near and dear to their heart.
When most people think about Northwest Arkansas, the last thing they think about is fine arts.
Something else they might not know is that the Walton family has spent well over $1.2 billion just here in the art scene.
So we're currently in Compton Gardens, a free-to-use green space with paved biking trails and mountain biking trails. This is just one of the many locations where they have developed a usable art scene here in Northwest Arkansas.
We're going to talk about where the art scene was, where it's going, and what the future looks like for this area.
Developments like this have a huge impact on the local economy of Northwest Arkansas. But to really understand where Bentonville's going, we have to understand where it's come from.
You know, Jeremy, I think you bring up a good point. And actually, funny enough, we do have the plans that Bentonville had about a decade back in 2014. Some of the key leading factors they were focusing on was the arts development, business retention, and education and workforce. And how those goals have progressed, we can now see in the community well into today.
Today we're walking from Compton Gardens in downtown Bentonville to Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. Crystal Bridges was established in 2011 and it is a free-to-use, open-to-the-public museum with curated American art.
They have rotating exhibits that come through seasonally and per the artist, but it has remained free except for some of those additional programs to compensate the artists for moving their work.
Crystal Bridges and some of the other investments from the Walton Foundation have really laid a foundation for other businesses to then build upon that and in some ways take things to the next level. So we're starting to see kind of a reemergence of businesses across the board that appeal to people who appreciate the finer things in life.
You can kind of see a few of these in anything like the Lady Slipper, all the way to the Amazium establishment, and many countless more projects that have started from this Blue Crane Fund, but have had other people definitely be inspired to make Bentonville their own.
As it turns out, there's actually a huge correlation between the vibrancy of a city's art scene and the type of local economy that forms around it.
Looking back at the plans of how Bentonville wanted to develop this area in 2014, they took a lot of inspiration from places like Knoxville, Tennessee, Portland, Oregon, and Austin, Texas, but they didn't want to mirror exactly what they did, but take elements to make Bentonville have its own unique identity. So we've mentioned a few different areas and locations here before, but really where I think you see the difference in Bentonville today is when you look at the places that have been developed, especially by that Blue Crane group, because they are the development arm of the Waltons that have really helped this area be greatly improved. 8th Street Market is one of those specific places that has been set up to have some more specific impact, allowing local vendors to get in. An example of that at 8th Street Market is called Bike Rack Brewing Company, and they have bought local beverages from Bentonville Brewing and other such places that are specific to Northwest Arkansas and for how that can develop. Now, past even just the vendors that get to be there, on the summers, on Fridays, they actually host free concerts in a mini amphitheater for people to attend to, just to be around like-minded individuals, see what else is out there, and be around more vendors. And so those kind of unique hubs of activity give Bentonville this culture that's starting to build where there used to not be even a space for that to happen beforehand.
They recently completed the world's first bikeable building at the Ledger Building, and this building is art from floor to ceiling. The entire way that it's laid out architecturally, the way that it is designed, it's just inspiring to be in. And the building actually functions as a multi-use office space where smaller businesses are able to rent out spaces within the larger facility. It features a coffee shop with Airship coffee, so the convenience and the access to downtown is right at your fingertips.
Jeremy, something that you mentioned was Airship Coffee, and that's kind of holds a special place for me just because one of the special things they did for downtown is they wanted to preserve what Bentonville was, but give it room to grow into where they're hoping this area can go. And I think that the Airship Coffee at the Bentonville Pump House is a prime example of that, because this was a building that was put up in the 60s or 70s, and it was the old pump house for most of the city, but rather than having it destroyed, it got refurbished into a coffee shop, so you get to maintain that historic presence of that building and have a practical use that actually does still help the economy and give another local area that is hikeable and bikeable in Bentonville.
And that seems to be the theme with most of the art developments that we see. They really try to work alongside the current culture and infrastructure that's here, and also alongside nature. I think Compton Gardens is a perfect example of that, where they're incorporating biking trails into an art facility that can be enjoyed by the whole family. Another example would be the Momentary, which is a museum for modern art, and they are also a home for a lot of events and festivals.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. We've had anything from like Deadmau5 come through, all sorts of interpreted dances from artists that are well known. You might not ever know exactly what's going to be going down if you're there on a Friday, but I will tell you, you'll get your money's worth and it'll be entertaining. And that's something that we just did not even have on the radar for this area. And that's what the Blue Crane, Walton Group, and the investment in this area is allowing for things to change in ways that I never could have imagined Arkansas being, to be honest.
So we've talked a lot about the developments that are currently here. What are some future things that are in the works?
Yeah, something that I think was really neat to see is there's actually a rendering of the Bentonville Art District, and it's supposed to run all the way from Thaden School, which is right along the lines of Main and 8th Street, and run all the way through till Compton Garden as one walkable collected path that would let you continue from Thaden all the way down this trail to connect to the museum.
Yeah, they're trying to make Bentonville walkable.
Exactly. And there's really interesting places along there, like the 21C Hotel, which is an art museum on the base floor and a hotel on layers above. But just because we've had these changes, we've also attracted other features like the Red Ball that was also at Tokyo at some point, yet made its way all the way to one of Bentonville's alleys. As you can see now, we've actually made it all the way down the Compton Garden Trail to Crystal Bridges, and Jeremy was going to let us know a little bit more about what's coming on site that kind of shows the direction of Bentonville.
Yeah, so looking to the future, this is actually the location of the Alice Walton School of Medicine, which is going to offer degrees in medicine all the way up to the doctorate level, and they are currently building that. It's set to be completed in 2025.
So you can see in Bentonville, whether it's the arts development, the education for the kids growing up here that'll be in this area for years to come, or the economy that's establishing Bentonville as something to make note of, there's lots of changes on the horizon.
I can't wait to see what this place looks like in 10 years.